So welcome to my video about kicking mechanics that nobody else is doing. Yeah, obviously this is a very broad statement. I'm sure there are some people who are doing this, but I watch a lot of Jeet Kune Do on YouTube, and this is what I see all the time from JKD on YouTube, which you guys are probably watching JKD on YouTube, and you're probably making these same common mistakes because this is what you see in JKD on YouTube. We'll just leave it at that. So the biggest thing that I notice when people are kicking, doesn't matter who they are, instructors or students, is they have no control over their arms. So this is typically what I see. If I'm throwing a kick, let's say I'm throwing the rear kick here, it's gonna be more of a rounding kick here, right? This is typically what I see. Okay, their hands are all over the place. Or if they're throwing it from the front leg, okay? Their hands are just doing whatever they want to do, okay? Control your hands, okay? Control where your hands are because you're gonna get knocked out, I promise you, okay? So when you're throwing an attack, whatever it is, make sure you know where your hands are. So I'm gonna keep my hands what? Keep my hands up. Keep my hands up, same thing. If I'm throwing it off the lead leg, boom. I'm keeping my hands up, boom. Keep my hands up. Now, there's different things you can do, different ways you can keep the hands up. So typically what I see for kicks, and I don't really advise you guys to do this, but you can, and there's nothing wrong with this, it's just, to me, not optimal. So let's say I'm throwing a side kick, a lead leg side kick. This is typically what I see is something like this on their lead leg side kick, their front side kick. This kind of posture, my rear hand is up, which is good. Rear hand is up, and I just kicked my opponent, hopefully. My question to you is this: do you think my rear hand is gonna stop a punch when I'm on one foot? If I get hit here, where's my rear hand going? Can I stop that punch? Or is that punch gonna hit my hand, which hits my face, which knocks me off balance? That's the most likely option, right? Okay, so why is everybody kicking like that? Why are we doing this? I don't get it. I don't get it. You guys tell me in the comments, I don't know. So this is what I advise you to do. When I'm throwing a kick, guess what? I'm gonna put both hands up, okay? Boom! I'm putting both hands up right here. Why am I putting both hands up? Because now I have a lead hand barrier and a rear hand barrier. Yeah, I'm gonna use both hands. We have two hands. So I got lead hand, rear hand. Now, it still may not stop a punch, okay? That's the reality of it. Maybe he blows through my lead hand, maybe he slips it, dodges it, and he gets to my rear hand. That's fine, but at least it slows him down. That's all I'm trying to do, is to slow him down. So I'm gonna put both hands up here, boom. That slows him down. Now the other reason I'm doing this is because I wanna throw something in his face. I want him to focus here, boom, so I can kick him wherever I want to kick him, either to the body or to the shin knee area. So that's the other aspect to that. Control your hands. That's the point of what I'm getting at. So as you train on your own, when you're at home, pay attention to what your hands are doing. The biggest mistake that I see with Jeet Kune Do practitioners, because a lot of Jeet Kune Do guys just have not fought. I'm sorry, that is what it is. They don't train, they don't fight, they don't spar. I don't know what's happened to the state of Jeet Kune Do, but you can see it when you see them stand like this. You can tell they never fought or they never spar. So, or, you know, I don't know. But the biggest thing that I see is that they focus so much on the attack that they lose all the other elements. So for example, they might focus a lot on their punch and they may hit hard, but their rear hand is down. Okay? It doesn't matter how hard you can hit or how hard you can kick. If your hands are down, your mechanics are off, you're off balance, you're not driving force, you're not driving power. So make sure you control your hands, you know where your hands are. The next mistake that I oftentimes see a lot is folks generally don't know where or how to connect the kick. What I mean by that is, let's say I'm throwing a side kick on the bag. A lot of times I see students throw a side kick from here. This is where they're trying to extend their leg from. If I extend my leg from here, I'm losing a lot of power. Notice the knee is bent at less than 90 degree angle. Maybe it's, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's a 45-degree angle that my knee's bent. But as I'm pushing here, I might be able to push the bag, but now it just becomes a push instead of a hit. Most likely, I'm more likely to push myself back in most cases. That's like when you see the push kick or a teep in Muay Thai, you see a teep right here, the guy is pushing themselves back. You know, not even their opponent, right? We gotta learn from this, guys. JKD guys, we gotta learn from combat sports. I wanna see Jeet Kune Do on YouTube. I wanna see better quality Jeet Kune Do on YouTube. That's why I'm doing this, all right? I wanna see better Jeet Kune Do quality on YouTube. So, couple things here. So, really where you wanna connect your kick at, you wanna connect it with your knee greater than a 90-degree angle. So I wanna connect it out here. It's greater than 90 degrees. It keeps me at distance as well, right? So if I'm connecting my kick right here, well, he's just gonna punch me in the face. Because now his arms, right, are typically gonna be at least this length. So I wanna make sure I'm using the full range of my kick here, and I'm kicking out at this range. Same principles apply when you punch. When you kick, make sure you're looking at your target, looking at your opponent. Try to keep your nose as far turned as possible on center. Keep it on center. Try not to bring your nose off center, because now you've got a blind spot on this side. It's much harder to see this, okay? So try to keep the nose, everything looking forward here. But connect with your knee greater than 90. Don't connect at full extension at 180. If I connect at full extension at 180, there's no power here, and I'm barely touching him. If you're doing light sparring, that's fine, but if you're fighting, not so much. So those are the biggest things that I see in terms of kicking mechanics. The last thing I'll tell you, last tip you want to focus on is your balance. You got to train balance. I'm sorry, there's no other way around it. You have to train balance. So you have to be able to train keeping your foot up, keeping your foot raised. You got to be able to train going to the side, going to the front. And I'm not gonna hit the wall here, but going behind yourself. You got to be able to train just keeping your foot up. And once you've gotten this, then you got to train coming up on your heel, right? Bring your heel up off the floor. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do, but it's the next level in terms of training. And then you train what? With your eyes closed. Just keeping your eyes closed, and again, just trying to maintain balance. So, and again, you can move around with it as well. You can bring your foot out to the side and just try to keep your equilibrium. And it's, again, I'm doing it here just impromptu for the video, but it's difficult. But that's gonna really improve your kicks and your control. And if you become an instructor or you want to teach, it's important that you know how to control your kicks when you're instructing and teaching, because some things are better done slowly rather than fast. It's easier for your students to see what you're doing. In general, you want to be able to control your kicks for power and for many other reasons as well. For targeting, you have to be able to be precise. And if you're not accurate, if you can't control your kicks and you're not going to be accurate, you're not going to be precise in your kicking. So those are important concepts in controlling your kicks. So be mindful of all those things. I believe those are all the things I wanted to cover on your kicks. We talked about balance. We talked about making sure you know where your hands are. We talked about making sure you know where to connect and the angle in which you need to connect for your kicks. There's a lot more. I'm sure I'm forgetting some concepts and principles off the top of my head, but we're gonna cover them in the next few sets of videos. Next set we're gonna talk about is footwork. Oh, I remember now. In your balance, the other aspects that are gonna help you in your footwork. Again, I should have known. As soon as I said footwork, I'm like, boom, there it is. And I love footwork. I'm a big fan of footwork. So the reason, what I mean is this. With your balance, if you're used to being on one foot to kick, then when you're just stepping, it's much easier to stay on balance when you're just stepping, or you're push stepping, or slide stepping, or a steel step, whatever footwork it is that you're utilizing, it's a lot easier because you're used to being on one foot. So what does that mean? Okay, obviously, Rob, of course that's easier. What that means is that if you get hit while you're moving, it's gonna be a lot easier for you to recover because you're used to being on one foot. So if I'm used to being on one foot and I happen to get hit here, I'm used to being able to move and control my weight and my balance. So even if I get hit while I'm stepping, I'm gonna have a lot better chance of recovering and not falling over. Additionally, if the guy's trying to take my legs and take me down, all that kind of thing, it's much easier for me to stay up on one foot and to properly sprawl, given the fact that I'm able to control my balance on one foot. Last point I'll say about this is also I'll be able to deliver more power. If I'm moving back, I'm on one foot and I'm stepping, and I can still punch and control power because I'm used to being able to control my balance, but still also be able to control the rest of my body as well, because I don't have to worry about my balance, because I can still be on one foot and be still able to deliver power. So it's important to train your balance because you're on one foot all the time when you're fighting, whether you're stepping, kicking, the guy's shooting for your legs, whatever the case is, there's oftentimes you're gonna find yourself on one foot. So train your kicks, train your balance, and train your control. We'll see you in the next video. We're gonna talk all about footwork and what nobody else is doing when it comes to footwork.